Namaskaram and hello again. I'm Arjun. You can call me Justin. So today we are on red flag number 5, I believe. Yesterday I was originally going to talk about deflection and blame shifting, but projection got in the way. Okay, go figure, right? So today I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to the deflection and blame shifting. They often go hand in hand, in my personal and professional opinion. There's a lot of overlap there. So we'll start with deflection. So that's basically when someone tries to redirect what is being talked about, what has been brought up, what is happening, and focus on something else, right? So focus on my right hand, right, while my left hand like sneaks around and pickpockets you. And a lot of times you'll see this in ways where, like, if it's a very close interpersonal connection, I mean, this happens a lot in professional and business relationships too, like all the time. Especially the deflection part. Like, yeah, especially that you'll see that in any kind of relationship or interpersonal connection. And usually it's because when one individual or one party is deflecting, they are trying to avoid that conversation, right? They are trying to avoid probably taking accountability or responsibility for something. They're embarrassed by it, feeling guilty, ashamed. And it's usually because, again, well, usually it's because they're not ready to face it themselves. Let's be honest, like they're afraid. And they're afraid of getting caught red-handed, lying, cheating, stealing, or delaying, or not coming through and following through on what they said they would, promised they would, or are contractually obligated to. So usually it's escaping accountability, which I've talked a lot about so far in previous episodes. And also wanting to avoid the transparency and honesty. So deflecting and blame shifting often try to escape those hard truths. Excuse me, I do a lot of throat clearing. I know that's probably annoying when I get into a spot where I'm going to be able to edit and make more professional videos. I will mute that out. I do have a couple of medical conditions with my throat, so I'm just constantly like throat clearing. Apologies, I know that might be annoying, but hey, it is what it is, okay? Don't like it? Well, you don't have to watch or listen, but please like and share, subscribe, comment. So yeah, deflecting is, an example would be like you approach somebody, we'll go with what I say most people are perturbed by, bogged down by these days, and they go to like YouTube and watch a lot of things on relationships, like the very intimate, usually romantically involved connections that you have. And so I'm going to go from like that kind of scenario or example. But you approach your partner and you say, hey, yesterday you said this and it really hurt my feelings, or it made me like question where you think things are on this or that. And then that person, your partner, responds with something like, oh, now you're going to bring that up when I'm like, dealing with all this stuff. I'm so stressed out, or I'm not feeling good, or yeah, but you did this the other day, and that, right, that is deflection. And then it usually snowballs into blame shifting. Not always, but a lot of the time it will be blame shifting where, like the last response example that I gave is, yeah, but I said that because of what you did or said the other time. And that is the reason why I became the way that I've become, or that's the reason why I said that or said it that way. So blame shifting is, I don't want to recognize what you're saying has validity, or to even address that this is something that bothers you. I'm not going to take accountability, even if it is true that I said it in a nasty way, or I did this and it was, really disrespectful, because I'm not ready to do that, and I don't want to feel like the bad guy, the bad person. So I'm going to blame it on you. Like, we're not going to really address that. In a way, it is acknowledging it. Blame shifting is acknowledging, yes, I do have blame in this. I need to be accountable and responsible. I need to make amends. But I'm not going to really do that, because the reason why I did that in the first place is because so-and-so or such and such reason or person did this, did X, Y, or Z. And that's why. It would have even happened if you didn't do that first or whatever. And not saying that if that is true, when they're blame shifting and they're bringing something up you did or said or didn't do or didn't say, that you also, like, you're probably going to have to be accountable and take responsibility for your actions about what they're saying. But you see what I'm getting at is, like, they're trying to escape taking any blame or any accountability because they're not ready to, for whatever reason, and they want to focus on what you did wrong, right? Or like blame it on somebody else rather than say, you know what, you're right. I shouldn't have said it like that, or I'm sorry I did this. Let's talk about it. But can we also talk about when you did this? Because I feel like it was connected to why I said that, or why I, did this the way I did it. Like that is reasonable. That sounds very fair. First, address what this person had brought up to you, right? Talk through it, and then connect. If you feel they're really connected, connect that to what this person didn't do, say, or didn't say, whatever, right? Like, that's fair, okay? You're addressing both parties' concerns and hurts, right? That's healthy communication. Good job. But if they're constantly doing that, right, or you're both constantly doing it to each other, it's a red flag. It's not good. Once in a while, we might get into a rut where we're doing those kinds of things. We're deflecting and or blame shifting. But really, like, if it's going on, like, I mean, I don't want to put like a definitive time range, right? Like a few days, few weeks, few months, because y'all's situations are going to be different and probably complicated with a lot of moving parts, right? And it's hard to say, like, what's a reasonable amount of time. I think what it really comes down to is, if it's just, this is like the new anthem that you march by in your relationship, where one or both of you are constantly deflecting and blame shifting, that's not good. That's a no bueno situation, okay? You really should be talking about walking your separate ways, or if this person, especially if it's really one-sided, where one person is constantly deflecting and constantly blame shifting, right, then that's a sign that, I indicated this yesterday in the projection, who knows, maybe deep down they're trying to sabotage because they don't feel worthy of your love and attention and respect and loyalty, and or they are afraid they're going to get hurt if they give more of all themselves to you, or their true self to you. So they're going to hurt you before you hurt them and end it, right? Or they're afraid that they're going to hurt you because like, oh, this is this great person in my life, but oh, I've just already effed up so many times. Okay, I should just do it before I really hurt them. Like all those things could be true, but I've said this time and time again, and I really want y'all to let this sink in. Do not conflate the potential or what's deep down, buried deep down in them with reality, what's actually like what they're demonstrating, especially time and time again, consistently. Those are not the same. Both can exist and be true. Like the potential, could be buried deep down within them, and maybe you've experienced it before with them. So like, okay, they're capable of doing this. But you have to get it in your heads like those are two very separate things, and that the potential does not really exist, right? Whether it's dormant, hibernating, or it's checked out and gone Cancun, like it doesn't matter. Focus on the reality, how they actually are, how they're treating you. And this extends to even if you're witnessing them be like very generous, loving, and respectful and fun with other people. Friend, the fact is, if they're not showing you that same courtesy, that same treatment, then that's not reality. Like they may be like that with other people in reality, but with you, nope. And the only thing you got left is the reality they're treating you like a POS. They don't respect you. They're not doing what they need to do to work through stuff and value you the way that they should be. And you only have this potential left. And it's very doubtful that after especially a certain amount of time, if they're not indicating any growth and healing and they're still treating you like trash, right? That potential is not going to come through anytime soon. And it should be very evident to you that you need to walk away as if the potential that you see, that's how they could treat you, if they're giving that in reality to other people, they probably do not like you very much. I mean, deep down they might be in love with you head over heels or really look up to you and respect you. But for whatever reason, they're not doing that. And if they're not doing it, then they truly don't respect you. They truly don't love and care about you, because that love and that respect that they supposedly have should be enough for them to overcome whatever BS they got going on and they're working on, to show you the respect, the care, the love, the loyalty that you deserve. Okay? I'm not trying to say they're a bad person. They're not acting like a very good one, though, are they? And you deserve better, right? Let them lose you. Let them learn the hard way if they have to, even if it takes years. Okay, but if someone is constantly deflecting, avoiding talking about some really uncomfortable things or hard truths, and then blame shifting that you're to blame for everything, right? And this connects with the projecting. So I was talking about when people have other crap going on in their life where there are like far bigger antagonists, people that are really manipulating them or maybe abusive in some way, or just really treating them poorly. And they got all these other responsibilities and people that, they're dependent on or are dependent on them. It's a lot of stress. But if they're then blaming you for all the stress in their life and this is why I'm so happy and yada, 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 right? When in fact, that there are other things going on that are bigger culprits, but for some reason they can't take it out on them or those things because they need to keep the integrity of that situation or relationship intact, or get people to play ball for a certain end or gain, then again, in reality, they don't respect you or like you enough to like even admit to that. And if they're not even recognizing it, like they don't even want to acknowledge that, you know what, you could be right. I laugh, and I'm not laughing at your pain and suffering and all the things that you're going through with this. I'm speaking everything that I talk about. I think a lot of people can, and probably glean this from or inferred this, but I'm talking both from a personal and professional standpoint, like experiences in both professional and personal life. Okay, we all go through crap. If anybody's like, oh, you experience these toxic relationships, we all have. And if you haven't, then you probably have your head in the sand, or, well, good on you. You've been very blessed. I don't know what to say. But I'm being authentically me. Take it or leave it. It's okay. I got myself. I'm good. So I'm talking from two different libraries, where I have these experiences and this knowledge. And I'm again laughing. It's like, maybe it's more of like an uncomfortable reaction, but it's really just like, I'm looking in hindsight, like either, with certain patients, clients, or friends, family, or myself, and just shaking my head like, oh, man, like it's so sad and yet funny, like humorous, like how we get ourselves into these situations, and then how easy it should be to like walk away. You can love that person from afar, right? From a distance. Bette Midler, right? Was that Beaches? I think so. You can still love and respect that person, but it might have to be at a distance, and you may never come back together the way you yearn for you to be with this person again, or it may never be the same even if you do. But nonetheless, right, it's your duty. You have to be accountable for yourself. And when things are getting toxic, when you're seeing all these red flags, you have to pay attention to reality and not potential. You really need to. Like if this person, like, once you respect yourself and your boundaries, and then respect them by saying, please go heal and figure it out. I pray, I wish the best for you. If they come back around, it's really up to you if you want to reconcile, or, however you want to make things work and whatnot. It's ultimately up to you. But, and I believe that should be considered and possible for a number of different people and situations. But if and when this person comes back, you really need to stop and assess. Don't rush back into anything. Okay? Don't pay attention to lip service, what they say. Let them prove it with their actions over time. They need to do that. They need to do that, not just for you, but for themselves. They need to know for sure, do I really want to get back into this relationship or connection with this person? Am I ready to do that, right? And you need to figure out, are you ready to have them back in your life? I've seen it many times where people attempt to do that and they realize, one or both realize, yeah, I guess we can't be like that again. And maybe they figure out a different kind of connection they can share, or they just go their separate ways. But that's actually really healthy because both are accepting, right? Okay, this is reality. So yeah, blame shifting and deflection, we all do it. We all want to avoid things, and we don't want to be made to feel like the bad guy. But the fact of the matter is we're human beings, and we're a combination. We're this spectrum, like, everything from light to dark and everything in between. And, throughout the day even, can probably get rated on where we are in that gradient, that spectrum. We all do it, but like I said, at the end of the day, you got to take accountability, and so do they. And when you do allow people to constantly deflect, we'll start with that one first. When you constantly allow people to deflect, you're going to start inside, it's going to eat away at you, because you're like, I don't feel like I'm being heard. I don't feel like we're actually trying to resolve this issue. And if someone always says, well, I already said I was sorry. And then they're blame shifting you for like, well, this is the reason why I started talking to this person again, or why I ended up having an affair, or why I'm avoiding like actually doing the things that you're asking me to do that are very important, whatever it is. Like when that starts happening, really like it's on them at that point, where they're blaming you for having a reaction to something that they did that was wrong or toxic. That's another red flag. Like, no, like, yeah, at a certain point, you just have to accept, okay, this thing happened and whatnot. But when you're not really actually dealing with it, and that person's really not taking full accountability for their part in it, and then trying to manipulate you into thinking it wasn't as bad, well, maybe from their perspective, but if it's very hurtful or disrespectful in your opinion, and you already established those parameters, those boundaries, you're not in a good situation if they're trying to make you feel stupid for wanting to get closure and resolution around that issue, for one. And then if they're blaming you for it happening again because you talked about it so much, that's really messed up. That is not okay. That is like one of the worst ways of blame shifting. Them blaming you for doing something that they know would hurt you, for them doing it again. You need to not walk but run away from that person in that situation. Again, maybe in the future you can reconcile, but don't fall in love or give it another chance because of the potential you see. Base it on the reality of how they actually are, how they're behaving, how they're conducting themselves, how they're treating you. It doesn't matter if everybody else they're treating great, because the bottom line is this is affecting you. When they interact with you, how they treat you affects you. Who cares about anybody else and how they're treating them? I mean, well, care about it, because if you're seeing them treat everybody else great, but you like you're garbage, or a tumor that needs to be excised, or a disease that needs to be eradicated, like you're worse than like a stranger. You're worse than even like some of their people that they hate or are their enemies. You got to exit. Like, you got to run away from that situation. Love yourself, right? Respect yourself, okay? Maybe they are a good person, but for some reason, you two, not going great. That's a no bueno situation, okay? You have to pay attention to yourself, your boundaries, okay? How you're being treated. And in turn, like I was saying, like, when deflection keeps happening and blame shifting keeps happening, projection, all these things, when you're engaging in that and you're enabling it, you're giving them second, third, 10th, 20th chances, right? You're getting toxic. You're becoming toxic. You're engaging in that. You're allowing it, for one, but you're starting to debase yourself and engage in lower operating system functions. And it's gonna start coming out of you. And then it's just gonna be this vicious cycle, and it's gonna spiral downwards, and it's no good for anybody. So that's why after a while, like, that's pretty much the time when you start to see like there's no movement back into your higher self for you or the other person or parties. It's time to step back. Okay? All right. I wish you all the best. I truly do, on your journeys. I wish true healing and true joy and stability, not just like distractions and having fun and living life up, but true joy, true stability. All right, I do. I really do. I will make a video tomorrow, and we'll probably talk about red flag number 6, and we might do the gaslighting. We'll see. But anyways, have a good day, everybody. Take care.